Like and subscribe right now, or else this will be in your bed tonight. r/AskReddit by Planet Reddit. College Redditors. What's the one high school habit each incoming freshman needs to stop doing on their first day of college? I'll start. No more or dogging it. Wear a condom. This is huge. College campuses are STD infested. Good God. I know way too many people who get STDs. It's almost expected. Go to engineering school and don't worry about getting laid at all. Your life isn't over if you walk into class late. Just calmly go in and take a seat. You'll be fine. Also, when you come in late, don't ducking walk to the front of the room and sit down. Sit at the back and be discreet about it. Also, if you are in a smaller class, under 50 people, walk up to the professor at the end of class and apologize for being late. This goes a long way. Just don't make a habit of being late. Conversely, if you are in a stadium class, do not do this, as you likely weren't noticed and announcing your tardiness only makes you look foolish. Edit. I want to clarify. Apologize, not apologize and give an excuse. Big difference there. Yes, IT will be on the test. If it's not on the test, you now know an amazing new fact to wow your friends with. It's nice when differential equations come up in conversations. You definitely need to study. If you had it easy in high school, it likely will not be that way in college. I think even more than high school. More important than studying is going to every class. If you go to every class, you'll have an idea of the curriculum. You'll know what material they emphasized, what pages to read. If you don't go to class, it makes studying much harder. You'll miss material, you'll be confused, disoriented, and you won't be sure what to ask the professor. This is heavily dependent on field of study. I busted my ass a lot more in high school than I do now. Long distance relationship with high school GFBF. Spoiler alert. You guys aren't going to make it work. Edit. A bulk response to all those who feel the need to let me know they didn't make it work, their parents made it work. We made it 5 years of long distance. We live together now. Still agree with your spoiler for 99.999% of cases. Edit. OP. You asked for this. Don't wear those stupid lanyards with the school name around your neck. Yes, I wish someone had told me this my freshman year. Looking back, I feel like such a dork. I did this. I thought it was cool. Then after a couple weeks I realized everyone can tell you're a freshman immediately. Nothing is less cool than a freshman. Also, don't travel in a group of 15. Stick to a few. You look like idiots. You can't masturbate whenever you want. You have to time it according to your roommate's schedule. Edit. Wowza. Thanks for the upvotes, guys. Single-handedly the most comment karma I've ever gotten. Unless you're gay and rooming with your significant other. College was awesome. Edit. Where did all these upvotes come from? Goddamn reverse couple discrimination. Professor here. Don't plagiarize. We'll catch you. If we do, fess up. The first several times, the students said I don't know how that happened. Remember that uncommon knowledge should be cited. If the prof asks you to come in for help, do IT. We can't help you if you don't. I can't tell you how many smart kids have dropped out. If you get so behind that you feel overwhelmed, talk to someone, anyone, and everyone until you get back on track. You may need professional help. Get involved. The more connected you are, the better you'll do. Live on campus if you can. Why? See number 4. You'll get some great profs and some crappy ones. No matter what school you go to, if all of them are great, let me know and I'll put my application in. I'm not being egotistical. I just don't like having uncomfortable conversations with students about their bad profs. Also, who one student feels is awful may end up being your favorite. Take advantage of electives. Try something you may never get to try again. I want to read 6 and 7 but I'm stuck in the 4-5 loop. You should probably ask for some professional help. Telling people what you got on SAT Act AP with AVAR. No one will care. Asking people what they got on SAT Act AP with AVAR. Fix that for you. But, I did really well. I feel like you should know how well I did. I felt like I was better than people in HS. So how else am I supposed to establish my dominance early? Super douche. Putting your phone on vibrate is not the same as putting your phone on silent. Everyone can hear your phone buzz. Everyone can also see you texting during lecture. Hiding your phone under your desk fools no one. And on that note, no one gives a duck if you shoot a quick text out as long as you're not sitting in the first few rows. Yep, leave the front rows to the overly studious folks. If you need to take calls or send texts, take the back rows or put yourself near a door. Putting on makeup in the middle of class. No one cares anymore. Some people just drag themselves out of bed wearing a t-shirt and sweatpants. And, as a professor, I can tell you that this behavior is rude. Most of us will ask you to do this on your own time. I'll wear my sweatpants wherever and however I want to. Thank you. Stop checking Facebook every 3 seconds. It's amazing how much time it will free up for you. Stop checking Reddit. Fix that for you. Let's be realistic. Don't shout out snide comments during class trying to get people to laugh. We don't care if that's what she said, we just want to learn. Duck. I cracked a couple comments in class back in my day, but I swear they were well timed and people laughed. Don't be this guy. Just don't. Unfortunately, those guys almost never, ever learn what duckwits they are. Be ready to change your major if you need to. What you actually do in a given field of study is often radically different than what you'd imagine. Had a friend go into physics, spent the last 2 years of his degree programming simulations. Switch early enough and you won't have too many headaches. You can sneak into other classes. No one is going to stop or even notice you. Do this a lot and you'll eventually be able to talk about just about anything. Use the library. Steal from databases. Outside of college, knowledge is expensive and libraries are sorely underfunded. Most clubs are kind of bullshit. Attend anyway. Catch a couple club members outside of the meetings. Get a couple drinks in them, and you'll probably get something closer to what you were looking for, even if you're living off your folks. If you can swing a part-time job, get one. Having a bit of scratch makes having a social life a lot easier, and it's going to stay that way after you graduate, regardless of how cozy you are. Having a social life makes having an intellectual professional life a lot easier. 2. The right friends can do wonders for your academic performance. Depending on what school, 75 or so person lecture and I witnessed a kid get called out. Answer: who are you? You're not in my class. I was, accidentally. Minor story, but I had been in there before class started, sitting in on a class, and the teacher was so incredibly rude to me. She kicked me out in such a nasty manner that I left the class and started crying in the hallway. Stop farting into Ziploc bags and hiding them in people's backpacks. Not cool. What? Who does this? Too long didn't read highlights. Make as many friends as possible. Introduce yourself to your professors. You go from number 8,675,309 to name. No one is in a clique anymore. If they are, duck 'em. If you aren't going to pay attention in class, don't disrupt your classmates with internet conversations texting. 4.5. Professors can easily pick out people not paying attention, and will most likely assume that you do not care about your grade. 5. Don't fall victim to no more parents, no more rules, especially on food. 6. Going home ain't shit, but keeping in contact with your parents is. 7. Find stuff to involve yourself in, but don't involve in all the things. 8. You will meet a shitload of people, even if you don't like them. Don't burn the bridge. 9. There will always be someone smarter than you. Don't play now at all. Good luck. And I'll leave you with this. CDN memo generator netlink. You go from number 8,675,309 to name. Is that a pointer? Very nice. Maybe not a habit, but a lesson. And I'm sorry if this is a bit negative or heartbreaking. There will be classes that, no matter how hard you try, you will be terrible with. I enrolled as an aerospace major because I wanted to change the world. Despite being more of a history English person, I, by some miracle, passed my second calculus class with a D. I had absolutely no hope with my third calculus class. I had a tutor. I went to study sessions. I went to office hours. I was housed with engineers. But at that point, nothing could teach me how to get from point A to point B. It was basically magic. With some loose logic here and there, I failed that class. Despite all my effort. I'm not saying that you will also fail, but that there will be classes that will be nearly impossible to ace. It's very difficult to get all-round A's, but maybe that's just my engineering school. Here the engineering average GPA is just over 2.0 I believe, and, no exaggeration, the average math test score is 50% or below, so curving is completely necessary. And always check the class average before you panic, and wait for the curve. I got a 23/100 on my Calc 2 exam once. The class average was a 10 out of 100. My 23% became an A. They need to shut the duck up talking to each other during class. I paid to come to the class and I want to learn, not hear about your sexcapades or drama. Spare us all and skip class. Do not wear your Letterman jacket. Do not bring up your standing, awards, honors, achievements unless you are asked. I hate it when I was in history and heard in HS I was in AP classes and I thought, if you know the answer don't showboat your past. Edit, spelling. Sigh. Those goddamn AP braggarts. I bet good money that at least 80% of the kids at my school had taken AP classes. They're basically a requirement nowadays. At my HS, many average kids took AP statistics because the only other senior level math options were AP Calc AB or one session of senior math. Also, no one gives a duck. No one cares if you're first year with sophomore status. You're still going to the same college as the kid who took no AP classes. Or, that was therapeutic. You're going to class, not the club. Alternatively, to those same students about 2 months later, you're going to class, not to bed. My pet peeve freshman year was when kids would regularly swear when addressing professors because we're all adults now. My sister told me a kid in one of her classes swore while answering a question. The professor asked him to watch his language and the student replied, freedom of speech, nigger. Yes, the prof was black, and he was not happy. It was the hard R. You never use the hard R. Join our community Discord, link in description. Making up excuses to a professor if you miss the due date for an assignment. It isn't that they aren't listening, it's that they simply will not care. One time, I was late to a final for my sociology class, like half a day late. My professor was a hard ass about timing and schedules. Even if you showed up 10 minutes late to lecture, he wouldn't let you in the room. I told him I legitimately messed up times and had thought the test was 5 hours later than it actually was. He let me take it, but he took 20 points off the top. Turns out your parents were right. Telling the truth works way better. Edit. 5 hours, not 5 fours. No fractions here. That good eye. Stop being so embarrassed when your family phones you / comes over. They probably live very far away and came here to see you. Show them some love. Stop masturbating in class, even if you are a star athlete. Steve Holt. From here on out, save yourself some trouble and stop acting like a middle school jackass. Amen to that. I started in a freshman dorm. People shit in the shower 6 times in my first semester alone. And they didn't have the courtesy to mash it down the drain? Rude. Try not to F up your grades your first year or you spend the next 3+ trying to make up for it. Also, get involved but don't overdo it. Not everyone can be involved in and the president of every organization on campus. But try something. Don't just go to class and then derp around in your room. Buy into the whole college experience. Please. Don't bother sucking up to the professors. While in high school nobody liked teachers' pets. Being one could legitimately give you an advantage. In college you are one out of thousands of students that your professor sees daily. If you become the classic suck up, you're probably not going to be well liked by your classmates and the professor will just see you as one out of many students, or worst case scenario, as a bothersome prick. Don't be afraid of asking your professor anything you don't understand. While they're held to a much higher standard than your normal teachers, they're still human. That doesn't mean you should interrupt him in the middle of a lecture. What I'm saying is that there's nothing wrong going to the professor after class to clear up your doubts. Expect failure. It doesn't matter if you're smart. or even a genius. You're going to a whole different environment. It really is a whole new world you're entering, and getting used to it can be tough for some. The world won't end if you get a C on your first test, so chill. For the love of Godzilla, do not call them anything other than professor. Don't call them mister. Don't call them teach, or anything of the sort. One last thing. If you're doing any sort of illegal activity, trust no one. I'm not kidding here. Some people will gladly rat you out. Maybe they're prudes that are jealous of you, or maybe they're against what you're doing. Be completely sure you trust who you're hanging out with. You have no idea how many headaches this will avoid. Actually, I'd still highly recommend spending time with professors. They might not grade you any differently, but you'll be able to get a better feel for what will be on the exam. Also, they're generally pretty cool people, and you can learn a lot from them. For example, one of my calc professors was good friends with the founder of Blizzard, and so I chatted video games with my professor a lot. Not giving a shit. I didn't give a shit throughout high school and graduated with a 1 something or other. I had no intention of going to college. Spent 10 years in the workforce. Made nothing of myself. Job hopped every year. The last job I had was the longest. I worked there for 2 years. I was up for a promotion that was then given to a guy 6 months my junior because he had a degree. At that point, I quit my job and enrolled in community college. The university wouldn't take me. I have recently transferred to said university and am currently maintaining a 3.92 GPA. All because I decided to finally give a shit. The non-traditional students are always the most prepared, smartest students in my classes. Probably because they are there because they want to be, not because they think they have to. Grilling everyone like you are the toughest kid around. Going off this, acting like you're the coolest kid around is extremely annoying. No one cares about how much you drank last night. If it's that impressive, people will brag for you. If it's that impressive, people will brag for you. Words to live by. As a rising college freshman, this thread will potentially prevent me from looking like a total dumbass 2 weeks from now. No, you will. If you have a minor disagreement with a professor, or find what they are saying is just so interesting, save it for after class. The rest of us really don't give a duck. We just want to get the notes, do the class walk, get the homework unless it's in the syllabus, and go the duck home. Don't drag us into it. It's boring, and we don't care. And sometimes the professors like to drag the rest of the class into the discussion. Edit. This doesn't apply to discussion-based classes or situations where the professor is outright wrong or inappropriate. This was the single most annoying thing I experienced through college. In freshman English, we had a kid who wouldn't shut up. By the end of the semester, I think even the professor hated him. We never got anything done. Learn to not start a conversation with "so what's your major?" or at least learn to phrase it differently. Personal pet peeve? Maybe. I think that's a good one to point out. I also hate it when the immediate follow-up is "so what are you going to do with that?" I'm tired of explaining to everyone that I'm double majoring in public relations and philosophy while minoring in religion just because I like to learn. No, I have no idea what I'm going to do when I graduate. Just let me enjoy this. Go look at the college freshman meme page. Don't do any of that. Too long didn't read don't die. If you enroll in a Spanish class, form a study group. After a test, you don't have to stick around. Pack your stuff up and leave quietly. If you're struggling, don't wait to get help. Seriously, if your school is halfway decent, there is at least one other resource outside of your professor that you can consult for tutoring. You'll regret letting your pride and or laziness get in the way of passing a class. Finally, if professors offer to read rough drafts of papers, take them a rough draft. Not only will you get suggestions tailored to your professor's grading tendencies, but your professor is also aware that they told you your paper is fine except for. So, if they said that one paragraph looked fine and then realizes later it should have expanded on some detail, they will probably be more lenient. You sought help. They missed it. Oh, well. Besides, you'll become a much better writer hearing suggestions from multiple sources. My essay writing has improved significantly because of my professor's input. Edit. So, I forgot this was about habit breaking. Here's a habit to break, so I'm actually answering a question. Don't sleep in class or otherwise ignore your professor. The lectures generally emphasize what your professor thinks is most important and what will be stressed on your tests. Besides, they usually have funny, interesting stories that revolve around the topic. It's fun stuff. Edit 2. Since it seems to be getting mentioned a lot, there are instances in which you do stay after the exam. I suspect, however, your professor will mention it in those circumstances. If in doubt, just ask the professor beforehand. Don't take human sexuality until you're mature enough. Go to at least one frat party. I never thought I'd join a fraternity until I went out and met some cool people. Don't get a fake it until you can actually pass for 21. C's do not get degrees. Learn how to grocery shop. Jimmy John's may be good for food at 2 AM. But remember that it's $6 a pop. Don't bring your book to class. Just pay attention to the professor. Tests will make you. Homework will break you. Get involved. Make friends. Remember that college only lasts for 4 years. You can whip out your phone in the class and check Reddit all you want. Yes, I am failing engineering school. No, I won't stop doing it. Your parents must be so proud and so thrilled to be footing the bill for that. Not everyone's parents pay for their schooling. Do every bit of extra credit offered. If you can redo a bad test for extra points, do it. If you can earn extra points for volunteering at some weird event, do it. If you get extra credit for attending every class session, go to every class session. Use every advantage they give you because every single extra point counts. I'm old and back in school, but as an example, in one of my classes, I did so much extra credit that I only needed a 20% on the final to get an A in the class. That knowledge is incredibly valuable when you have 3 other finals the same week. Send thank you notes emails to the professors you love, the ones that have made a difference or have gone out of their way to help you. Send it after the class is over and you've received your final grade to avoid impropriety, but do it and be heartfelt about it. They not only appreciate it, but at some point, you may need a reference letter if you're transferring or going on to grad school. I have 2 former professors that still stop me on campus to ask how I'm doing and offer help if I need it. Never forget reference pages. Cite everything you've looked at, even if you're not quoting or using statistics from it, and if needed, buy an app or extension for Word if you suck at formatting. Do not forget references ever. Do not take college like it's on autopilot. It isn't set up for you like HS. You set up your classes, professors, and schedule. Take advantage. Screen your classes and profs so you're not walking into shit blind. If you end up with a shit prof class, you're doing it wrong. Retema Professor is a beautiful resource. Use it. Also ask around for recommendations from other students. Your opponent in class is stupid bullshit. Don't take professors that are a shats or make their class hard just for the sake of doing it. If it's a class not germane to your major, find the easy prof and take their class. Bank your easy A for GPA support. If it's a major related class, get good professors whose classes are only as hard as they need to be. I dissent from the advice here about not being a teacher's pet. I suggest it. Don't kiss ass, but take excuses to have sidebar conversations with your professors. Geek out with them. They will think more positively of you and it can show up in your grade. Not all professors in college grade on purely mathematical formula. Seriously, take advantage. It's a bit of an acquired taste, but once you get used to it, it really helps with decision making. Dress better than you did before. And if there is anything you don't like about your own personality, too shy, etc., change it the first day. Be bold and act like who you want to be. Everyone will assume that is how you always are. And after a week or 2, your new self will be your new self. As someone who grades a lot of papers essays, please let me urge you, do not, I repeat, do not fall into the crowd that sets up teams for classes. I see this all the time, where people say okay I will go Monday, you go Wednesday etc. and share notes. You are paying to go to class, so go to class. There are a lot of people who do this and get away with it, but you will very likely end up hurting yourself in the long run. You might hurt yourself in the way of not doing as well on a test because your friend didn't take the best notes, in the way of not preparing in a prerequisite class for a later class down the road, or you may be violating the school's academic integrity code. I just want to take a quick second to address that last one because it's very important, and I think a lot of the people who screw up simply didn't take it seriously. Most universities have a zero tolerance policy for cheating. You may think you are getting away with it, but I want to warn you. Teachers, professors do not need to tell you when you are caught. You can go the whole semester thinking you are safe, then suddenly get a nasty letter informing you that you need to go see the Academic Affairs Council. At that point, you are almost certainly hosed, and penalties are usually as severe as possible. To use as an example, please do not underestimate this. It's a lot more serious than high school. Furthermore, if you are farther along in your studies, you can permanently blacklist yourself in the world of academia, potentially losing job opportunities or the ability to go to grad school, which is becoming increasingly necessary. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for 3 videos a day.